Hi, Paul Sakis, Good News Broadcast, Good News Planet. I'm here with Eric Yaverbaum. Hi, Eric. How are you?
I'm doing better, doing better.
So this is a COVID story. Eric is CEO of a successful corporation, a writer, an author, and he caught COVID. He caught COVID again, and we're going to talk about that. But I can see already part of the reason why he's here still talking to me is because I asked him, his name is Eric, first name, right? And Yaverbaum is his last name. And I asked him, how do you say, because I have to say the person's name, I mean, it is appropriate. How do you say Eric? No, how do you pronounce your first name? And he had a good laugh. I could see he has a good sense of humor. So what do you think about a sense of humor when you have an illness?
I think what was the statistic I read? Children laugh 225 times a day. Adults laugh 15 times a day. I think a sense of humor is seriously important, and adults should do a lot more laughing. They'd be a lot healthier.
And what do you think it is about a sense of humor that helps to keep us, I believe also, and scientifically it's actually proven, in a healthier mindset?
I just think, smiling, laughing, it's just good for your immune system. It's just good for your overall health. And who doesn't want to have a fun life anyway? We only get to do this once. We may as well have fun while we're here.
There we go. So you and your career, give us a little background of.
I've run an agency for 40 years. Sold my first one 20 plus years into it to Wall Street. Went to work for Wall Street, didn't like it too much at all. Left after 15 months. I did a brief tenure, which wasn't brief enough when I got behind the curtain of politics for during the transition between Bush and Obama. So I was at the White House for a little while. And then I started the agency that I have now. The agency that I have now, I've had for 15 years, and I absolutely love what I do. I'm not a hashtag. I love what I do, and I feel really lucky to feel that way. I don't feel like I work for a living. My clients are fantastic. They're icons. They're people who have walked through history books. I learn from all of them, and I'm just having what I always tell the kids who work for me is the first 50 years are the hardest.
Okay. All right. I can appreciate that. I'm celebrating my 50th anniversary in communications, starting in 72, but you look much younger than me. So
I'm gonna be 60 next week.
All righty. Well,
I'm getting there.
Well, I'm going to be 30. So
you're my mother. Wow. I should introduce you.
So, what kind of agency is it?
It's a communications agency. I mean, I look at myself now as more of a. I ran a traditional PR agency. We were one of the largest in the country when I sold it. I look at my agency now as more of a venture sort of agency. We're vested in just about everything that we work on. So I have equity in most of the businesses that I'm involved in, and it's a total passion play for me now. I mean, we don't do any work that we're not very passionate about making the world a better place tomorrow. And, I have the great luxury of having a line out the door and being able to work on stuff that we want to work on. And when I say I mean we, it's my whole company. When a new piece of business comes to us, if it's something that I feel will help make the world a better place, it's presented to all the groups that work for me. And if nobody raises their hand and does cartwheels over wanting to work on it, we don't take it.
Good philosophy. We're in the same business. So I like that. But now let's talk about, I'll say, a serious matter, and I'm sure you will as well. So you caught COVID. Tell us about that experience and how you're still here today, thank God, and
still here,
and open to discuss the scenario and how you proceeded.
Yeah, I think it's very important that. And the first time I got COVID, the first time. A year ago in March, early adopter, got it fast right out of the gate. And nobody knew anything about COVID. And I was very ill. I was in bed for 29 days. I was on oxygen for 90. And I'm an avid athlete. I haven't taken a sick day in, most of my career. And I was totally out of commission for 29 days, on oxygen for 90. And I thought it was very important at the time that people could, and my story kind of went viral. That hanging on the wall behind me I was on the cover of Entrepreneur magazine, as sort of the cheerleader for COVID, which I was. And I don't mean a cheerleader for having COVID. I mean the cheerleader for information dissemination about what it is, why we should all be vigilant and careful about it, why you don't want it, and why you can, come out the other end better. It's profoundly changed my life. I wake up in the morning and literally when I open my eyes, I say, wow, thank you. Another one of these. I know a lot of people have had, whether they had, I had 5 nights I didn't know about. Breathing was not taken for granted for me. I was on oxygen for 90 days. 5 nights in a row, I would take a breath and think in my head, is that the last one? Am I going to be able to get the next one in? Spend 5 nights like that, you have a whole new appreciation. I always say breathing is underrated. But I do believe that a lot of people, whether they had extreme cases of COVID or not, or any COVID or not, or know people, so many of us have lost people. The world is different out the window now, and we're all waiting, hoping that we can go back to some version of what we used to consider normal. But people, a lot of people, a majority of people say, like, can you believe the birds are chirping? Look at that tree. How about that sunset? All the things that we took for granted before, I think so many more people do not take for granted. And that to me is a silver lining of this entire period of time, which, look, I do hope it comes to an end sometime soon. But after having COVID for 90 days, living a very precarious existence health-wise, after a lifetime of being an avid athlete, I got better. I did have residual lung damage. I think my days of running marathons are over, but I am a daily exercise enthusiast, and still. I spent an entire year being incredibly careful. During the course of the year, I was tested for antibodies 3 times. First time I had them, second time I had them, third time I didn't. And that was about 7 or 8 months after I had COVID originally. Your mindset changes when suddenly you don't have the antibodies anymore. It's like, oh my God, I'm back in the pool again. You get a little nervous again. And I did, as you know, I'm in the news a lot. A lot of people have asked me about this throughout the course of the year. All I ever said about it was, I didn't think and this is my unique body, because everybody's body's different. Everybody's reacts differently. I know people have a lot of different feelings, to each his own. I'm not trying to pontificate that my perspective is the right perspective. It was just what I experienced. I said, I did not think that my unique body could handle having another round of COVID. I was incredibly careful about where I was, who I was around. And I spent a lot of time home. I got it a second time anyway. The second time was the variant. And who wants to know anything about variants? And here's the thing about what I'm about to tell you about variants, because I had it. It was the variant from the UK. Nobody knows anything about variants. It's kind of like the original COVID. You will hear so many conflicting opinions about COVID. There's debate about the vaccine personally, and I'm not trying to project my feelings on anybody else. I don't get that one. I'm getting that vaccine as soon as I can. And now we get to the variant. What's up with the variant? How does that factor into play here? Because I'm not a doctor. I know my own body. I have yesterday. I was retested. I am now COVID free as of today. I have a low level of antibodies, and I would like to get the vaccine and stop living this way.
You would like to get, so you can't go get that vaccine today?
It's so ironic. What happened was, I live in New York. New York, if you were 60 or older, you qualified, you get the vaccine. I will be 60 next week. So during the period of time that I had COVID, I thought I was this close to that vaccine as a 59-year-old. Had I been 60, I would have already had it. During the period of time while I had COVID, the second time, the variant, New York lowered it to 50. So yeah, now I can get it. The debate is, I mean, and you're literally speaking to me in the first 24-hour window where I know I've beat it again. I do have antibodies. It's a much lower level than I had the first time. So I don't really feel invincible with the antibodies. It's quite what they have found, a couple things, which you'll see in the news, you'll hear from your friends or people like me. It's all anecdotal. I can't really wrap my brain around what is actually anything. I don't know. I just know about myself. One is if you've had COVID, I've had it twice. I mean, the local news here did a whole story about me the other day, and they let off the newscast by saying how rare it was, but to get it a second time. And then as the story progressed, they went on to saying it was rare, but this is what you're seeing. And it's partially, variant related, but people are getting it. I'm not so rare. I'm not so unique. People are getting it a second time. I know nobody wants to hear that, but you can. What they're also finding is, and by the way, none of this is 100%. What they're seeing a lot of is if you've actually had it, when you get the vaccine, your body recognizes it and starts an all-out fight. So a majority, statistically speaking, of people who have had COVID, who get the vaccine, have a little bit rougher first couple of days. So, when I do get the vaccine, I'm expecting that. What they also interestingly found a lot of is the long haulers. When I had COVID originally, it was 3 months. To me, that was a long haul. I haven't taken a sick day in my entire career, basically. So 3 months to me seemed like a real long haul. I had two friends who got COVID right around the same time that I did, who never got better. They had all sorts of issues throughout the entire course of the year. That's long haul, not what I had. I thought I was so special having, being a long hauler because I had three months of nothing. These people, one male, one female, both in my demographic or my age, spent the entire year, fatigue, brain fog, a mild headache, every once in a while, the mild temperature for a year. Both of them, and you'll see stories about this on the news, not about them, but in general, they got the vaccine and boom, 24 hours later, it was all gone. They were better. I'm sure science will find something interesting about that as more and more people get vaccinated, because it does seem to be impacting the long haulers in a profoundly positive way. I mean, when you feel the same way for a whole year and you get a vaccine and 24 hours later, you feel like yourself again, something magical about that feeling.
When I stub my toe and
yes,
it feels better the next day, I think it's a miracle.
Right, exactly. Not bad. Boy, isn't it great to have that toe back? I
can walk again. Yeah, it's a.
But it's all a matter of perspective in life. 100%. All of life is.
Life is a matter of perspective. The glass is half full, half empty. Positive thinking. Yeah, I'm on that. That's our show.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in that. I mean, people, the glass half empty, glass half full sort of question. What I've always said to people, and I am an optimist, but I say, hey, I don't care which way you look at it. Is it half empty? Is it half full? This is what I say about it. It's refillable 100% of the time.
I like that. I say we're flying away in outer space. I mean, how serious can you take it? So it's all good. Do you have a book as a result of this? Are you creating?
Oh, yes. I'm writing my 8th book, which, it's ironic. I've written 7. And some of my books have done extremely well. I'm a New York Times bestselling author. Yeah. Wow, which really impresses my mom. I don't know if it impresses anybody else.
That's the only one you got to impress.
Right. Leadership Secrets of the World's Most Successful CEOs sold 1 million copies. That, I'm happy about. That's that. I didn't quit my day job, but that was a big book for me. But I said after my 7th book, I'm all done writing books. It's, that's hard work. So I'm writing the book that I said I'd never write, which is my 8th. It's called The Audacity of Silver Linings, and it's really all about I mean, a lot of the philosophy in the book is philosophies I've had my entire life, but much more profound since COVID. Much more so. I mean, to be 59, and you might be the last interview I do in my 50s, and have a experience like I've had now twice with COVID. It really makes you realize what's important. I mean, everything that matters in life is priceless. Your health, love, your family, all the priceless stuff. You cannot buy the important stuff with money. I've been very I don't want to say lucky because I've worked hard for it in my career. I've done well, but it was never about money for me. I look in the mirror and I don't measure anything about my life based on the amount of money that I have. I base it all on my friends, the people that I love, the people that love me, the people whose lives I've been able to change. It had nothing to do with money.
I hear you. We could talk for a long time. We have a lot in common, and in our philosophy of our existence on Mother Earth. And so we shall do that. And I'm in a similar business for many years as well. So in addition, and so it's all good. I'm going to ask you. We do the World Peace Day concerts, Times Square, Central Park. I've been involved with that since 2002, and actually, somebody called me early this morning. I'm making a show for on Earth Day, a 2-hour special. And I at one point they wanted to pause the world. And I called it Pause the World. And then the United Nations came up with the International Day of Peace, which actually has been around since 1984. And we've been doing the concerts in Central Park and Times Square in any case. And so they reminded me of our Pause the World phase. I said, let's just stick with the Peace Day. I mean, there's so many wonderful things in the world, but if we could just tie them together, it would make a stronger comment than the UN communications. Not everybody has to have their own show. Everybody could do the same show if it's a good show, in any case. So I'm going to...
Yes, but something that's an interesting, your philosophies and your clear, hopeful, look forward attitude about the world. We need a lot more people like that. And the interesting thing about it is, I believe, is that, which is why I was very public about my first go round with COVID, is I think it's, and I'm not making a political statement here at all, one way or the other, but I think it's incumbent on leaders to spread calm, not chaos. And the positive people in the world, the people that will make you feel good. You can compliment somebody, do it. You can make somebody feel better, do it. Why wouldn't you?
It's total. I was a fortunate guy because my mommy gave me, when she was the librarian at Temple Emmanuel here in Manhattan, a book by Reverend Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Positive Thinking.
My client. I love it. Right? In the latter part of his life. You're at Temple Emmanuel?
Well, I'm not a member. My mother was the librarian there earlier.
I've been there many times.
I'm part of the Actors Temple, actually, down in the theater district. But any case, and I remember getting that book in high school. A reverend, we're very close to our own personal temple, built it, in fact, my grandpa, and blah, blah, blah. In any case, and I said, what do you mean? People can think negatively? I mean, why would somebody waste their time, think about all these difficult thoughts, negative thoughts? I mean, it's all good. So it's
amen. I mean, what people don't, easier said than done. And I don't think I was born optimistic. I think it was a learned skill for me in my youth, but it is a habit. And I do look at things differently because of habits of youth. That I developed throughout the course of my lifetime, but everything always works out for me. Everything is always, why is that? It always does. I don't have to worry about it. I know it's going to work out already. But it's it's a great spirit to spread, and that is as contagious as the virus is.
It's like sneezing. It's good news. I actually have to tell, because I'm in this 50 years. I started with a mindset of positive, life-affirming content. I started on All in the Family. So I go way back Archie was you laugh with Archie, you cried with Archie, but you knew he was a bigot. And so, and I've done the whole a long time. So, and the good news, I'm 23 years promoting good news. I tell people, I have 5,000 shows. I tell people I'm a showaholic, is my fanaticism, that I'm too stressed out from too much good news. Because the fact is that we did 120 hours of COVID specials of positive things, ringing the bell in my backyard here on the Upper West Side and blah, blah, all this stuff. The fact is we would not be here if there wasn't all good news, mostly good news. We would have, mankind, humankind, people kind would have done ourselves in.
Amen.
Most of the world is common. I even say amen. I say our women also, just to keep it easier. But we're a beautiful community. The world is one. We're brothers and sisters.
You're so, boy, I love you. You're so right. And people don't. And again, I know it's quotes are easy. Execution's hard. I'm very quotable, but I know after whatever pithy quote I say that somehow turns into a hashtag, you got to actually do it in life. But for everybody, there's no exception to this. Life exists for me in between my ears. How do I think? What do I think about? What is my perspective? And I get to decide that. And you know what I decided? Things are pretty damn great. And lo and behold, pretty damn great.
And everybody's going to want to be hanging with you because you surround yourself with positive people, then it's positive. It doesn't matter that there's.
Well, actually, I want to hang with you when the world gets back to normal.
All right. Well, we can even hang before. The key, as you just said, the key is before. If you can in life be helpful, the best time is now. And I didn't say, in essence, enjoy every moment. A lot of, even if you're a volunteer and you will go to this place to feed the homeless for 2 minutes, because all you have is 2 minutes, that's 2 minutes more than saying, never getting into it. We have so many opportunities to make our lives enriching, helpful, and rewarding and beautiful, and live longer. And I did the Brain series on PBS, all right? The bottom line is, the more good you do, the more your endorphins, the whole smear, the blood cells, the oxidation, talking about breathing, I'm a yogi instructor, whatever, there's the pranayama, the breath of life. It's a beautiful thing.
It's interesting if you think about it. PBS is a perfect example. Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers, he gave congressional testimony in '69, which everybody's got to watch it. I'm sure it's on YouTube. The testimony that he gave before Congress, when nobody really knew who he was, and nor was PBS funded really. I mean, I think that his budget for his show was $6,000 or something. When he gave the testimony, one of the things that he said, which has stuck with me for an entire lifetime, is if you look for the helpers, you will know there is hope. I just want to be a helper. And that particular line got PBS funded in 1969 because it resonated with a group of Congress people who had no idea who he was either. That to me is, and never more relevant in the times that we're living in now. If you look for the helpers, you'll know there's hope. If you have hope, you can do the day.
I'm with you. Amen. Now, women. All right. So I'm going to answer, and I hate to actually stop talking, but I just want to ask you, I got to interview somebody else. But the thing here is, so I ask people, what does peace mean to them, or what is peace, love, or hope, or good news? I feel like with you, I want to ask you, if you don't mind. So what is love for you?
I'm rooting for everybody. I mean, that's the thing. I'm literally rooting for everybody. And I was not like this when I was younger. I don't mean rooting for everybody. I was rooting for some people. But there was a certain point in my life where my goal became inner peace. You get inner peace, which I have. It's been a good decade. It's very easy to have love in your life when you have inner peace. And I do believe that that's a goal that's, again, not to project my own, life on anybody else, but you get inner peace, you're going to have a lot more love in your life.
Eric, you're a good man. All right, I'm so happy I got the opportunity to speak with you, and we'll talk again. Thank you.
Great. I look forward to speaking again.
There we go.